All right. It's time, as I mentioned, not only for the combine, but for me to spend an absurd amount of time on television with this man. But it's great. It's easy. Just like Sunday morning, every single time with Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing great, buddy. I had my conference call last week, and the one of the questions was, give me a reason why an average fan should tune in and want to watch this.
Who the hell asked that? Who the hell asked that?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall who it was, but my response was Rich Eisen pop culture references. I mean, let's just put it out there. Let's be honest.
Okay. All right.
You come for the football, you stay for the interaction and the pop culture that references.
All right. You know what? Whatever sells the soap. You know what I'm saying? Whatever sells the soap. Are you going to bring those plants that are behind you? Can we bring that? Are those real?
No, those are not real. No, I'm not responsible. I take no responsibility for anything that's behind me. Although, you know what I just realized looking back over my shoulder.
What do you got?
I don't think Sauce is going to be with us, but are we going to bring our jewelry?
Maybe Sauce will be with us. That's Al the jeweler. That was one of my favorite moments from the last couple of years.
I got to remember to pack that thing just in case.
Do it. Yeah, do it. All right, let's jump into it here. We'll obviously be so focused on the quarterbacks. And your mock draft 2.0 came out. Caleb Williams first overall. Justin Fields last week, the conversation was he unfollowed the Bears on Instagram and the reason why he did it and so on and so forth. And also the fact that he's agentless coming into the combine. How do you think Caleb Williams enters this scouting combine amongst the scouting and evaluation community, DJ?
Well, Rich, I think he enters not only, kind of as the heavy favorite here for the Bears in that big decision, which we'll have a chance to really jump into of all the different layers of that, which is going to kind of shape not only the draft, really kind of shape the whole offseason and the quarterback carousel that we're going to see. So most people in the scouting community believe that's what what will happen. And I haven't talked to anybody that doesn't view him as the top quarterback. So we've got three guys I think we have a good chance of seeing go quarterback to start the draft, which is pretty unique. But I would say where we are in the process right now, he's in the pole position.
Anything about being agentless? Anything going on? Because red flags are going to get raised about anybody. Yeah. It doesn't matter how talented you are and how dazzling you are in the eye in the sky. But what's that conversation?
So I'm gonna learn more about this, as we go through the process. But kind of how it's been explained to me is that he doesn't want one agent. He doesn't want one private coach, that he's using a lot of different resources on both of those areas where, in other words, I've heard he's going to go around and visit with different quarterback coaches, try and glean what he can from each of them. And he's been, working hard by all accounts, doing all that, but a little different approach. And it sounds like from the contract side of it, the agent side of it, he's got a team of people that he's comfortable with that'll handle that. I mean, really, Rich, you need the agent on that second contract a heck of a lot more than you do on the first one. You're just kind of going to get slotted in there, and that's kind of, paint by numbers stuff. But the agent helps, and I think maybe Florio or somebody wrote about this the other day. The agent helps with some of the other stuff and just kind of controlling messages and narratives and all that. There's value beyond just negotiating the deal. So I would always advise kids. I talk to them all the time. I think you find somebody you trust and you go hire an agent. I think that's I think it's worthwhile. But look, this is the direction he's going to go.
What if he doesn't vibe with Shane Waldron, right? I mean, what if he doesn't feel it? What if he goes through that 15-minute conversation with the Bears, saying, "Well, that didn't feel great," because you know how it works. They're going to get a small window of time to sit him down and have him on a grease board and whatever. And that's going to be the first time that they get to really sit down with him. And he's going to walk in the room knowing they can take me. And they're going to have him walk into the room saying, let's kick the tires on the kid. And what if he doesn't vibe with him? What if the Washington Commanders want the hometown kid? What if that's what he wants? What if he vibes with the Giants? Him and Daboll hit it off, What if he and Sean Payton hit it off? What if he and just go down the list? They hit it off. And he decides that's where I want to go. And he wants to try and manipulate the draft. Doesn't matter,
I don't think so. I mean, okay. It's just everybody's going to point to the Eli thing, and we've heard it. We heard it with Burrow in Cincinnati. Those thoughts. I just think at the end of the day, you're still kind of powerless. The teams have all the cards. And if the Chicago Bears feel like he's the best guy, even if they don't, hit it off, I don't see them giving in on that. So to me, I also think there's something to some of these guys. Look, you can say, I like these coaches, or I like that city, or I like this situation. There also is something that history always kind of remembers you too. You're the first pick in the draft. Like there's some ego and pride involved with that, of wanting to be the first pick in the draft. So, I feel like this is one of those things we talk about every year, and that it never really,
right.
Nobody ever really does anything with it. The other one that we always talk about is, who are the teams that are going to trade back into the back of the first round for that 5th-year option? That rarely ever happens. Right. But it's it's part of the conversation.
So then let's go about it this way. Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. What would you think is a reasonable or offer? Let's just throw it out there for Washington to move up from 2, for New York to move up from 6. Like what would you think would get Ryan Poles' attention, or needs to happen to get Ryan Poles' attention to get off of Caleb Williams and stick with Justin Fields and surround him with players from these draft choices? What do you think?
Yeah, you're talking about massive hauls. So I had Jack work on this project for us, who will be
the great Jack Andrade, NFL Network Research. Yep.
He's crucial if we get to this time of the year. So a couple different spots. And then I always tell them, look, when you're talking about trade ups, we're talking about a quarterback, there's a premium. So wherever the chart is, there's a premium tacked on top of that. Right. So the teams we ran it for, we did not run it for Washington. We did run it for the Giants. So if you're thinking of, this was going from 6 to 3. This was not even counting the first pick. So if you take Caleb and put him to the side and just say you're the Giants and you want to move up for the 3rd quarterback,
yes,
you're talking about the 6th overall pick, to your 2 second-round picks this year and a 2nd-round pick next year. That's to get to 3. So that is a strong price to go up for the 3rd quarterback. You talk about going from 6 to 1 for Caleb. Man, Rich, they're not going to pick for a very long time.
So that's here's I guess my homework assignment for you. How dare I say that? But I just did it anyway. What the hell? Even though it's not homework, you'll be in Indianapolis anyway. I'd love for you and Jack to run the numbers of 2 to 1, yep, and from 6 to 1, 8 to 1, because this is Caleb Williams' world we're paying rent in here. Like this is it. Like this is the kid that everyone's talking about. This is the kid that everybody's seen over the last couple of years. Certainly 2 years ago, more than this past year. That's the conversation I'm interested in having. 2 to 1 for sure, because I mean he's a hometown kid for the Washington Commanders, so maybe they want to do that. I mean,
the interesting thing is everybody, you can have all these different layers of this thing. Like I'm curious, with Adam Peters having been a part of one of these trade ups in the past with Trey Lance and that not working out. Is he, maybe that makes him a little shy on that and saying, hey, I know he's a hometown kid, man. There's still 2 other quarterbacks that are solid, really good players. We keep all our picks, stick and pick, or we're going to have to, it's going to pay a steep price to move up 1 spot. So that everybody has their own experiences they take into this process as well.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. Why do you have Washington selecting Drake May over Jaden Daniels, and how do you think that can get changed potentially over the next couple months?
Yeah, I think that's wide open. I feel, to me, it's Caleb, and then there's a fight for number 2. And I think there are, I would say, more teams that I talk to are Drake May teams than they are Jaden Daniels teams. But I've talked to guys and I've talked to personnel directors that feel the other way. With Drake, you get more size, you get a little bit more arm strength, you get somebody who was a little bit limited by the situation that he was in. He was not operating in the same position that Jaden Daniels was. Jaden Daniels played the best. His tape is the best this year of any of those 3 quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels is thrown at 2 top 15 picks at wide receiver, and he played behind a really, really good offensive line. The other 2 guys in the top 3 weren't afforded that same luxury. But, that's why it's a fascinating discussion. And I think you have kind of with Drake, you kind of have more of that prototypical guy who's kind of built to take the pounding, and somebody who can just do a few more things throwing the football in terms of being able to power the ball into different places. So that's a debate that is definitely ongoing.
So moments ago, you said that you had tasked Jack Andrade of NFL Network Research of trying to figure out what a trade up from 6 to 3 would be, Giants to New England. So I want to pull on that string a little bit here. Are you of the mindset that the Giants are ready to move on from Daniel Jones?
They've got one more year, right? So they can't really get out right now. So you've got one more year there, and then it's a swallowable number for them to move on. I did not get the sense, and obviously he wasn't able to stay healthy, but I did not get the sense that they feel like this is the long-term answer. And I don't want to use the phrase buyer's remorse, but I feel like it's hard to say that you're in love with an outfit when I think you're going to be at the store shopping for a new one. So that's, I think they're in that. I think they're definitely doing their homework on these quarterbacks.
They are doing their homework on these quarterbacks. And then why would you think the Patriots would be up for moving out of 3?
Well, there's the veteran component of this thing, and one of which is Justin Fields. Where is Justin Fields land? We know we have the, Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson and all this game of musical chairs. But when I was looking at Fields teams, I know a lot of people have talked about Pittsburgh as being a fit there. That would make some sense. Sending him back home to Atlanta, where he grew up. I don't feel like we've talked much about New England. And when I look at New England and I look at a defensive head coach who would, I think, appreciate having a team that can run the ball with an athletic quarterback, and look, we'll play this style of football. We already have a really, really good defense. His fit there makes some sense. And if you look at it costing the 34th pick, hey, Justin, guess what? You can, you come in here. We've got a great defense. We're going to be able to run the football. And now, because we have the quarterback in place, we can auction off pick number 3, and we can be the team to really capitalize in here and get a ton of picks to support you and add around you. So that was the scenario. These mock drafts, Rich, you run different scenarios. That was the scenario I ran this time.
Well, your final mock draft is the only one in which you endeavor trades, and boy, did you nail last year's by having Arizona move out of 3 for Houston to go 2-3. You nailed that one last year, but just a further conversation. So New England would be willing to move from 3 down to 6 because they've already settled their quarterback situation. And you think Justin Fields being traded away by Chicago would net them a high day 2 draft pick? You think that's the market you're hearing for Justin Fields? Daniel?
Yeah, that's darn near a first round pick. I mean, it's pick 34.
That's what I'm saying. That's a nice pick. I mean,
that's a nice pick. It's a premium pick. And I think, to me, if you're the Chicago Bears, I'd be, knowing what we've talked about before with the Sam Darnold compensation, which was a 2, a 4, and a 6, not all in the same year. A high 2 like that, man, I think that's really, really good value.
But in the meantime, for your mock draft saying that New England sticks and stays, boy, if they have already acquired Justin Fields and then they get Marvin Harrison Jr.,
that's fun.
Don't you think? Right? I mean, that's what you're talking about, but then they wouldn't have a choice until later, I imagine, Friday night. And they need people, though. I mean, they need some coal for that engine, man.
I'm not a numbers guy.
Okay.
Yes. Don't claim to be.
Okay.
But I think that being tied for last in points per game, 30th in yards per game, 31st in third down offense, I don't think that's good. I think that's bad.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I know Brockman enjoyed watching those games last year.
I had a great time watching Pats games this year, rooting for them to lose.
I think there were more shutouts in Patriots games than Red Sox games last year. I haven't looked that up, but I think that's possible.
It was a rough sports summer and fall.
So Ohio State fans dotting New England with Justin Fields connecting to Marvin Harrison Jr. The red, however, that Brockman currently is seeing is the supposition that Mac Jones is redeemable still. Are you hearing that as well? Like that they might just run it back with Mac and trade down and get more picks and get more coal in the engine? No, you're tilting your head like that. That ain't happening, DJ?
I'll tell you a story. When I was a little kid and we would bring our baseball cards to school. It was to trade baseball cards. And I had some Jose Canseco cards, which were premium, hot items.
Okay.
And I had a kid come up to me and he was like, look, I don't want to do this because I love Pete Incaviglia. I don't want to trade my Pete Incaviglia. He's great. I mean, I love him, but I guess I will take your Jose Canseco rookie card for my Pete Incaviglia. Now, I'm a third grader. He's a sixth grader.
Nice.
He's just got over on me like that. So that's what I think of when I think of this time of the year.
That's your response to that question.
Great comparison.
So Mac Jones is the Pete Incaviglia of the question?
In this scenario, yes.
Power hitter.
Pete Incaviglia.
Underrated.
Oh, my gosh.
I still have all my Conseco.
All right. So you think there'll be a new quarterback in New England. Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. You don't have a defensive player in your top 10 right now for your mock.
No,
What's up?
It's a quarterback, receiver, tight end, or sorry,
Tackle?
quarterback, receiver, tackle draft, Rich. That's what it is. And we're going to have corners. That's going to be the defensive position where we'll see a bunch of them go. And I think that corner run, though, could be, in the 10 to 25 range. We could see a boatload of those corners come off the board.
Okay, so when we're Saturday's the combine, big day, always is, but that truly is the meat of this combine, which is quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers. That's the meat of the combine for sure.
Yeah, I would say for sure the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. The running backs are fascinating this year because we don't have we don't have a Jahmyr Gibbs, we don't have a Bijan Robinson, but we've got 6 to 8 guys that are really closely graded, that are good players, that, I would say traditionally are, 40s, 50s, like kind of going to go in that range, like that type of player. But because there's so many of them in that clump, Rich, I think we could have a game of chicken when we get to Detroit, where you say, hey, I don't want to be the first one in line on this ride. I just need to get on before the ride's over. So, does that push these running backs maybe even to like the bottom of the second, maybe even to the top of the third round? And then once one goes, you see just a run on those guys. 6, 7, 8 of them end up going in short order.
Defensive line group, break it down for me. What about that?
Defensive line, we've got three top guys to me that kind of have separated themselves. When you look at Dallas Turner from Alabama, Liatu Latu from UCLA, who's the most polished of all the pass rushers in this draft. Now, he's got the medical stuff. He had been medically retired at Washington, goes to UCLA, played lights out. So the medical portion for him will be very big. And then Jared Verse, who's just a great story. The guy was playing tight end at Albany not long ago, and he goes to Florida State and tears it up. Those are kind of the top 3 guys. But the one that, we'll be probably oohing and ahhing over in Indy is Chop Robinson from Penn State, because, wait for it, we're going to have a Penn State kid test really well, Rich.
Nice.
We've never seen that at the Combine before, but he is going to put on a show.
Okay, and somebody's going to, you think a 4-3? You can see a defensive lineman run 4-3? What do you think?
I think he'll be in the 4.4s. But it's
one day we're gonna see a defensive lineman run a 4.3. I mean, we're going to see it. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, we're heading there.
All right. Before I let you go, just as you know, a preview. You do know the number 18, right? Number 18 in Indianapolis usually does mean the guy on the statue out front.
Correct.
This time around, number 18 is the number of Michigan Wolverines at the Combine, which is a record setter. And I'm just giving you a heads up, Daniel, that I might mention this every now and then during the four-day broadcast, if you're aware of that.
I was funny. I call around because I've finished watching all the tape on all these guys, and there's a lot of Michigan guys to watch. And then I call around to training facilities and coaches and, hey, let's tell me about the guys that are working out there. Tell me guys you played against. And every time a Michigan player comes up, we're going over 15, 20 players. A Michigan player comes back, Rich has got that. We're fine. All right, get the next guy. Just give me the next guy here. Rich is going to have the flat. When this guy runs the 40, this is going to be Rich's territory here. I mean, I'm the mustard on the hot dog here. He's gonna be able to go with this.
No, and I appreciate that, but no, don't leave it up to me. I need to hear what you have to say, Daniel. You know what I'm saying? Like the number of times I've heard what you have to say about so many Buckeyes and so many Crimson Tide and the LSU guys from a few years ago. No. I need to hear what you have to say, and everybody has to say about these guys. And I'll just sit back and I'll be like the caller. I'll just sit back and listen. I'll hang up and listen.
You know the crazy thing, Rich?
Yeah.
And I'll use this as a positive, is 18 guys, as you mentioned, but going through, and I've just been watching so much tape, I could make a case that the 2 best players on their defense are back next year.
Oh, really? Because I've been told by everybody in Columbus that Michigan doesn't have anything left there anymore. So that's not the case.
The corner and the defensive tackle are really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. They are. Oh my God, this is going to be great.
And the tight ends really good. On the other side of the ball.
He wears 18 too, so maybe they were just matching the number of Colston Loveland's jersey uniform. Listen, DJ, I'm looking forward to hanging with you, bud. We'll see you soon.
We're going to have a blast. We're going to have a blast, man. Thank you.
All 4 days of on-field drills at the NFL Scouting Combine on NFL Network and NFL Plus. Daniel Jeremiah. It starts on Thursday at 3 Eastern Time. We will see you then, Daniel, and appreciate you being here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.